Hey, so we were live today. I thought we would discuss some of the things that went on in the Olympics this last week. Some good, some not good. Um, the we'll do the good first. Katy Ledecky has been awesome. Katy Ledecky won 13 medals so far, and she is now the most decorated female swimmer in all time, as far as I know. Which that's a really good thing. She works hard, and we'll just get to it right up front. The difference between her being able to win all the medals and the Italian boxer being put in the ring with what is ostensibly a man. I'll get to the crux of the matter on that in a second. Is this the swim team said no trans athletes, nope, not happening. You compete against the sport which you were born. And where the boxing team said, well, if they identify as a woman, we need to accept them, blah, blah, blah. Well, what happened? The boxer from Italy got in the ring with what was ostensibly a man, and he pummeled her. It was over in 47 seconds. And she's not a weak woman. She is a cop. She boxes on weekends. She said when he hit her in the nose, that was the strongest punch that she's ever taken in her life, and that she had to surrender the fight to save her life. That is not right. So there has been this doctor that says, well, she was born a woman, she behaves as a woman, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's a problem with that. And here's the problem. The Algerian boxer was disqualified from boxing just last year because when the IAB, the IBA, the International Boxing Administration, did their blood test for the sex of the individual, she came back with X and Y chromosomes, and that is a man. Only men have X and Y chromosomes. Women have XX chromosomes. It's not. You can't be born a woman and have XY chromosomes. It doesn't work like that. If you're born a man, you have XY chromosomes. You're born a woman, you have XX chromosomes. You can't sit there and say, well, I was born a woman, and then you have XY chromosomes. That doesn't happen. And so here's another shake your head moment. The the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, was asked, well, how do you tell if an athlete is male or female? And they said, we look at their passport. They're supposed to do a blood test, and the blood test will tell them. This is getting beyond ridiculous, and to my mind, even stupid, that you have this great Olympic committee and they don't even do a blood test because they're supposed to do a blood test to check for doping, stuff like that. And so they said, no, we just go by whatever the athlete puts on their passport. That's how we sex them. I thought, oh, good grief. This is beyond ridiculous that we have tried and true methods of finding out, through blood work, through scientific blood work, if they're a male or female. And the IOC says, oh no, we just go by whatever's on their passport. It's like, grow a spine. I get so agitated at these people that don't have a spine. That they just sit there, woe is me kind of stuff. And hey, Zach, I went and watched that doctor that you gave me the name of. And I have some issues with his theory. He says that the Algerian boxer was born a woman, lives as a woman, should be treated as a woman, blah, blah, blah. You know that? Well, the reason why that same boxer was disqualified from competition just last year is that when they did the blood test, it came back with X and Y chromosomes. X and Y chromosomes means it's a man. And if it's a woman, it comes back with XX chromosomes. That's scientific. So how's Zach doing? So anyhow, Katy Ledecky, man, she is on fire. She's supposed to swim her last race today, and she's already won 13 medals. She's the most decorated USA swimmer on record. She beat out Michael Phelps. That's something, huh? Can you hear me okay, Zach? Yeah. My feed for the chat wasn't scrolling, so I didn't know if you could hear me or not. Yeah. I just think just this whole thing with the men and women's sports needs to go away. One of these girls is going to get really hurt, maybe even killed. Oh, yeah. I guess I'm not supposed to say killed. I'm supposed to say unalived, which is about ridiculous, right? Yeah, I have a new mic coming tomorrow. My mic and my tripod and stuff was supposed to be here yesterday, but it got delayed in shipping for some reason. So it'll be here tomorrow. So the background static will get taken care of tomorrow. It's just been so ungodly hot. Yeah, like it doesn't mean the same thing, right? I'm getting used to the software. I figured out today how to put in my ticker at the bottom, for change it back. Not that one. Yeah, sure. Yeah, a lot of them said that they are going to just start forfeiting because, like in college girls basketball, in I think it was Connecticut 2 months ago, um, there was a trans woman on the opposite team, and she ran up to one of the players and grabbed the ball out of her hand and shoved it in her face and hit her and knocked her out cold. Actually, no, didn't hit her with the ball, hit her in the face with her hand, knocked her into three other players. She went down being knocked out cold, and the coach called the game forfeited, said, I'm not going to continue a game where one of my girls is going to end up in the hospital. Yeah, see, here's my issue with the whole transgender thing. I don't have no problems if they want to identify as a woman, they're a man. That's their business. But when they want to get in the ring, or not in the ring, it, do sports with a woman, and the one example was that, like with Riley Gaines and Leah Thomas. Riley Gaines is the girl from Kentucky, and Leah Thomas was the transgender from, I think, Pennsylvania. Well, Leah Thomas was over 6 foot tall, and Leah Thomas broke women's records that the women competing will never be able to catch up to again. That's my issue. I have said for quite a while that we should have a separate category for trans individuals to compete, so they compete against their own kind. Does that make sense? Instead of taking a transgender woman, which is basically a man identifying as a woman, and putting them up against a biological woman, I just don't think that's fair. I got nothing against their lifestyle. They can do what they want to do. I do have an issue with California and letting little kids transgender without telling their parents. That's a whole separate ball of wax. Right. I agree with what you said here, that you're not saying that they aren't accepted by many people, but the transgender men tend to look feminine and the transgender women look masculine. They still don't fit in, which that's true. Yeah, I get really ticked off at people that say, well, you're transphobic. Well, A, you don't know me. B, I'm not transphobic. C, I want to not end up with this going so far that some girl gets killed over this. That, to me, that's where this is headed. because the girl from Italy, she said in the ring, I played the clips. I'm still working on this software. I'm supposed to be able to bring clips in and play them, but I haven't quite figured that out. I'll get that taken care of this week because I wanted to play the clips of her saying, this is unjust, this is unfair, and then pointing at the other boxer and saying, that is a man. It's just bizarre. And then I have a whole thing that I'm working on Southwest Airlines. I'm really ticked off at Southwest Airlines. But that's going to be a whole separate stream all by itself. Yes, you're right. Gender reaffirming surgery is plagued with lifelong problems. I had it's a former friend. We got into an argument and he said, I don't want to talk to you no more. And I was like, well, okay, fine. Your choice. But he was transgendered and he was from Seattle. Was it Seattle? No, Portland. And the psychiatrist convinced him that he wanted to be a woman, that he should just change his gender. Well, no, that he wanted to be a man. He said, I never identified as a man. I identified as a tomboy, a girl that likes to do things with boys. Big difference, huh? Well, they talked him into having the surgery. It isn't, I did not know this. It isn't just one surgery. It's like 100 and something different surgeries. They don't just do like in a double mastectomy, they remove the breast and then reconstruct. No, they have to take out bones in the rib cage, re-slope the ribs, re-slope the entire abdomen. They have to scrape off muscle and then after he went through all of them surgeries, they told him, okay, they gave him these pills that he had to take, and they told him you can never ever go off of them, otherwise it'll just your boobs will just grow back. It's like, what? And the one girl that testified about transgenderism, I think it was a couple months ago, way back in the spring. The girl was sobbing and crying because they convinced her that this was the solution, and it was not the solution. She said, I never wanted to be a boy. They did this to me anyhow. She said, now I can never have children. She said, she had a wound across where her nips would have been. She said that constantly seeps. She said she's been told that there is no remedy for it. And I think it's just awful. That's why I've said, whatever they want to do as adults, let them do what they want to do as adults. Leave the kids alone. Because there you have this girl that didn't want to be a boy, that was talked into it anyhow by somebody, and they did the surgery, and now she's depressed and crying all the time, which I think is really sad. Right. Looking for guinea pigs, hoping they can create the opposite sex, but they can't. That's right. And this is also right. There's no easy solution. That is absolutely right. We need to get more with anti-bullying campaigns in general, and not focusing on the kids that were bullied and say, gee, what's wrong with you? Well, maybe there's nothing wrong. Maybe it's the kid that was the bully. Hello, right? Yeah, the live stream. I'll probably do the live stream on Southwest tomorrow. That is a whole kettle of worms. Right. Accept peers for what they are, not try to make them into what you want them to be. Which, I don't know if you know, the reason why Elon Musk is pulling all of his companies out of California. Did you hear about that? Yeah. Um, Gavin Newsom, I call him Newscomb, signed a law that says that children can be, and we're talking about little kids, not teenagers. It said children can be transitioned without their parents' permission, that they have no say in how their child is raised in California, that the state has all the authority. How crazy is that? That you're going to tell parents that they have no authority over how their child is raised, that the state has the authority? That's about crazy as hell. This is just beyond crazy. Now, I believe that the parents should be the one to deal with their children and their children's decisions and stuff like that. Not the state telling the parent, well, you're going to let this happen or we're going to take your kid from you. That's all kind of turnaround. You talking about Newsom was dead? Oh, Elon. Elon doesn't have the best relationship with his daughter. His daughter came out a couple weeks ago. Well, I think she used to be a boy, transitioned to a girl, and said that basically said that he takes no part in her life because he's always yelling at her and blah blah blah. And yeah, yeah, she came out a couple weeks ago. And you know what's sad about that whole situation with Elon and the son who transitioned is that he told her the truth and she couldn't handle the truth. He told her, even if you have the surgery, you will never be a girl. You were born a boy. And that is the truth. Yeah, my hand gets to cramping and I have to change hands that holds the iPad. That's why I'm getting uh, the tripod to hold the iPad. And it was supposed to be here yesterday, but it's coming tomorrow. All right, I'm going to get off of here. I'll be back on tomorrow. Talk to you soon. Thanks for showing up. Have a good day, Zach.